What is going on, Diablo 2 fans? Dobrunsky here, and today I'm going to be running through a quick video discussing potentially a new sleeper mercenary for Sorceress, and it is an Act 5 mercenary variant that has tons of physical damage and tons of elemental damage. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of a spin on a request that I've had like numerous times of Hand of Justice Dragon Act 5 mercenary, but it's not quite that setup. I'm going to briefly discuss why, in my humble opinion, that's honestly a very bad setup, and then I'm going to show a better alternative version, which honestly isn't too expensive, but can almost double the damage extent of your Act 5 mercenary. So I do think that Act 5 mercs highly have a lot better of a place in D2 than what they did previously, and even had one tank Uber Mephisto. So this is another cool variation. Again, let me know in the comment section below if you guys would tweak or change anything. And a quick reminder before we jump in, just want to let you guys know that if you do enjoy my YouTube content, I do stream twice a week on Twitch, so any follows on that platform would be very much appreciated. Got the link for my Twitch channel in the description below. That being said, guys, let's jump in. So first, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the highly requested Dual Hand of Justice Dragon Frenzy Act 5 Mercenary. Now, the reason why I don't think this is a super viable option is because, and I actually couldn't replicate a perfect level 46 offensive Holy Fire aura, but I did get to level 44 with some offline gear on a Paladin, and your damage is below 1,000 fire damage per strike. It's around 100 pulse damage. Now, you might be wondering, like, well, how come the Dual Dragin or the Oradin or Tesladin, how come they get so much damage with things like Hand of Justice, Dragon, Dual Dream, etc.? The reason is because of the additional synergies that those skills receive on those characters. So Salvation, Resist Fire, or Resist Lightning, they either synergize Holy Fire or Holy Shock, or actually even Resist Cold will synergize Holy Freeze. That's how you're able to get that very high damage value on those characters. But then it kind of got me thinking, well, what would be a cool way to sort of take advantage of some fire damage? And I was thinking, well, let's take a look at a couple Sorceress builds like Frozen Orb or the Hydra Sorceress. When you almost fully max those two skills on their own, you have a lot of extra additional skill points that you can put elsewhere. So I was kind of thinking, well, okay, I did test an Act 5 Mercenary using dual Head Strikers, Fortitude, and Ariad's Face, and it was able to kill Player's 8 Eldritch and Shank quicker than a Reaper's Toll Mercenary. So kind of putting the two and two together, well, how can I take advantage of a ton of extra skill points on a Sorceress with those two particular builds, but then also have the Act 5 Mercenary? And it kind of struck me, well, what about a high-level enchant, adding a ton of additional fire damage to a Mercenary that already hits really hard? Now, there is a couple drawbacks. It is true that you do lose out on some damage yourself instead of using an Infinity Mercenary, but if you farm some particular areas like the Stony Tombs or some of the Ice Caves in Act 5, those areas don't have fire immunities. So you're essentially throwing, with really good gear, an additional 5,000 fire damage on top of an Act 5 Mercenary that has tons of survivability and has tons of great physical damage output. So that's kind of my spin on the Dual Hand of Justice Dragon Armor Act 5 Mercenary that's been requested. So I'm going to quickly run over the skill tree. I just want to show that I completely maxed out Chant, Warmth, and Fire Mastery. That's really important. Those three skills are maxed, then you still have a lot of extra skill points. So put points into the 1-point wonders like Frozen Armor, Static Field, Telekinesis, and Teleport. And then max out Hydra, Fireball, and I was left with some extra points that I put into Firebolt. Wasn't quite enough to fully synergize Hydra, but I still have 4,000 damage per Hydra shot, 6,500 Fireball damage, and then I throw on an additional nearly 5k fire damage on top of a Mercenary that literally already is kind of shaking waves in terms of being able to tank Uber Mephisto, which is just insane. Quick little post-edit, I realized that I forgot to show the Act 5 Mercenary gear. So he is using Fortitude, a Chammed Ariad's Face, and then dual Head Strikers that have been upped. Now, I do want to point out that another content creator did mention that you can actually use a single weapon on these Frenzy Mercenaries and it will count as dual weapons. That might change, I'm not sure. I personally think that's probably an unintended bug, just getting essentially dual griefs out of a single grief or dual Head Strikers out of a single Head Striker. But for the time being, you could absolutely rock one weapon. But I did want to demonstrate that the Mercenary's gear is high-end, but for a Mercenary that could clear Reaper's Toll, or clear faster than Reaper's Toll, we are, on top of his damage, adding 5k fire damage. And the Mercenary also has great movement speed as well. So I'm going to show off a Stony Tomb run. So this is an area where there's no fire immunes. Gonna kind of let the Mercenary do his own thing. And then I'm going to also assist the Mercenary, and then we'll do the same thing with a player's 8 run in the Stony Tombs. So you just buff up Battle Lord's Battle Command, then hit the Mercenary up with Enchant. And again, due to the massive amount of points we put into Warmth, you don't really have mana recovery issues, so you can kind of get away without using Insight. So this Mercenary, tons of fizz damage, tons of fire damage. He just runs around just absolutely swatting things. Like, I don't even need to do anything. If I really wanted to, I could have him do his own thing. If I was lazy, cast a couple Hydras, hang back while he's running around, kind of making up for the sort of lack of AoE damage. Or if I really wanted to, I could help out using Fireball. I mean, once he gets moving, as long as I'm teleporting too, moving from boss back to boss back, he is always attacking. It's that additional movement speed that he gets from Frenzy, which is so helpful. And like I said, like he has that movement speed, you teleport, I think it lasts for 6 seconds. And unless he's like frozen down or it runs out, the second that I actually land in a monster pack, he just starts going to town. I hang back, got some Hydras. While Hydras are focusing on some stuff, he's focusing on other things. And things are really, they're really kind of dead before you get a chance to kill anything. Now this is a high-end variant, but I thought it'd be cool to do a player's 8 difficulty run, so we'll repeat the exact same thing. And I do want to point out that some people might mention below, well, you're only focusing on areas that have no fire immunes. Obviously that's going to be good. You could run this exact same setup. You could put enough points into Cold Mastery, get 17. You could completely max out Frozen Orb, so you'd have like 600 cold damage per shard. You could be spamming Frozen Orb in the Chaos Sanctuary, and then put everything else into Warmth, Chant, and Fire Mastery. So you still have massive mana recovery, hard-hitting Mercenary that just runs around, clears everything, and then adding additional fire damage, so you could farm areas like Chaos Sanctuary if you really wanted to. And actually, you could farm Chaos Sanctuary like right now. It'd be completely fine. You would just be relying almost entirely on his physical damage. Just the Hydras won't do anything. But I just thought this was a cool spin on, like, because so many people have requested that I make that Hand of Justice setup, and it just, I did test it. It just far is subpar. It just did not perform to the same extent. He's still swatting stuff. Like, look, player's 8. He's still swatting everything. Let me just double check. Yes, player's 8, because it's, you're not quite sure if he actually is farming player's 8 or not. And again, like, I think that this setup avoids a lot of the issues. Here, just let him just, player's 8, do his own thing. I guess not quite one-shotting, but he's doing a ton of damage. Kind of hang back behind him. He's just running forward, hitting stuff, couple teleports, move ahead, couple Hydras. And that's pretty much all this gameplay is. And then just spam back and forth, do some fireballs. And I do want to point out that you could, in reality, run this exact same build with an Insight Mercenary or an Infinity Mercenary, and you could buff them up with Enchant as well. I think it's a cool spin on using these two weapons, Fortitude, good physical damage. It just, the life and defense that these guys have, like 27,000 defense. It really is crazy. And you could just kind of hang back while he's doing his own thing. Like, oh, he's Fire Enchanted. So, player's 8, Fire Enchanted. I'll just let him do his own thing. takes it out. Kind of funny that players 8 with this difficulty really looks like players 1. Yeah, guys, that's sort of just a follow-up to, again, what was requested, the dual hand Justice Dragon setup. Like, people have really, like, asked me to run that build, but I do think that this could also be a killer setup if you ran this on an Act 2 Affinity Mercenary and then hit him up with 5,000 enchant, because he would be attacking very fast and doing additional damage because he'd be lowering fire resistance even more. But that's basically everything I wanted to show off for today's video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, let me know in the comment section below if you guys would tweak anything, but I just think this is a lot better of a setup than going like the Hand of Justice Dragon thing. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, if you could throw a like on it, that'd be awesome. And I'll catch you guys on my next video or live stream. Peace out.